And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, of course, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football. We're going to go ahead and drop an episode with our favorite for the Super Bowl coming right back at you here. So look forward to that wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, our good friends Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, John Costa's Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk, and of course, also as well, the Lakerholics crew at Lakerholics.com. Support all these great channels. And speaking of support great channels, thanks so much for doing so with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Again, it is Gerald Glassford. Lakers come into tonight after a long day of inactivity at the trade deadline and a long day of also the Kobe statue unveiling of the number 8, his performance with the 81-point performance, with hand high in the air with the number 1 after that great performance, signaling that it's the first of 3 Kobe statues that's coming for us. Going to get one of 24 and then one of Kobe and Gigi. So yes, don't forget to press the like. Please like and share. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. So with all the festivities going on and all the inactivity going on with the Lakers trade deadline, the night ended with the Lakers against the world champion Denver Nuggets. And the Lakers in the first half just found it so sluggish to go ahead and whatever they could throw up against the Nuggets, it just didn't seem to work well enough. Every single time that they found themselves in the middle of a run, the Nuggets would find something better as they led by 10 at the half. The Lakers, in the third quarter, the tail end of the third quarter, started to find some energy, started to find a little bit more than what the Nuggets were offering, because the Nuggets really seemed to slow down a little bit with their offense in that third quarter. That gave the Lakers a chance to get back into the game. In fact, they tied the game on several occasions down the stretch. But unfortunately, AD, LeBron in the clutch couldn't get it done. Some mistakes by Ham coaching down the stretch. Stone Hansen, who couldn't be here as far as for the post game, is absolutely livid at, of course, what Darvin Ham was doing with his coaching. And the Lakers, unfortunately, fall short once again to follow 27-26 as they fall short 114-106. Still ninth place in the Western Conference. And here today to talk about everything going on, good man indeed. He is the mastermind behind Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. It is John Costa. John, great to have you here. All that work, always climbing uphill, always finding yourself climbing uphill, and no D'Angelo Russell tonight, with that treatment obviously not working to the full effect. So he was out tonight. Max Christie getting hurt with a sprained ankle in the first half. Just wasn't meant to be, John. Everything they tried to go ahead and get out in front of the Nuggets, unfortunately, by Darvin Ham at the very end, just didn't work.
It just unfortunately did not work, Gerald. And this was one of those situations where it's like, it makes me feel, not only does a loss upset me, but it really, really upsets me because, if you're just looking at the numbers, you're probably going to think that what I'm about to say is crazy. But if you really watch the game, then you know that, like, this was one of, I would say, Jokic's, not good game. Like, Jokic is so dang dominant almost every single game. And, him having I believe he had 6 turnovers today. I believe there was one point in the third quarter when he had like 6 assists, 6 turnovers. That's not very likely of Jokic. So, to me, it's like, man, like, we did what we could as far as Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis played him relatively well. Like how you mentioned, Darvin Ham made some silly mistakes at the end. And I counted on my own hands, guys. I counted about 8 points that we gave up by Darvin Ham not putting Anthony Davis back in there a little bit sooner, and just by having Hayes out there, there's a couple of just boneheaded moves that.
And what did we lose by, John?
We lost by like 8 points, right? So very, very upsetting because I even wrote it here. I usually take notes when I'm watching the game, and I said we bought it within 3. There was 9 minutes left, and Anthony Davis still was not in this game. It's hard because we're not in the room, we're not in the huddle, so we don't know if Anthony Davis is like, yo, like I need a break, and if that's the case, then maybe we're pressing too much on Darvin Ham at this point. But it's just upsetting to me at the end of the day because it's like, man, at that point, like how many times have we learned this? How many times have we been on this post-game show talking about when Darvin Ham should have brought Anthony Davis back into this game and not kept players like Hayes out there? And this is no knock on Hayes. Like Hayes was vital for us tonight. Those offensive rebounds, though, that chase down block he got, like that was huge. Like that gave me life in this game. But I just think that if you go ahead and you bring in Anthony Davis a little bit sooner, and you don't give up those 8 points that I watch Hayes give up by just making some boneheaded moves, doubling the point guard on the pick and roll, and then watching DeAndre Jordan get downhill to the hoop a couple of times, then maybe this is a whole different story. But at the end of the day, guys, this was just, one of those punches that it's like a gut wrench punch. Cause it's like, man, we did what we could against Jokic, forced Jokic to have 6 turnovers, and we still lost. Damn. But happy to be here, though.
Yes, so I'm always glad to have you here, my friend. I'm going to get your thoughts on the NBA trade deadline and all that with the Kobe statue as well. Please don't let me forget. But also here today, good man indeed. He is the guy that was with me throughout the entire day, and he held it down with Stone on the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break simulcast. It is Joe Soro. Joe, a very long day, getting closer to the end, unfortunately, with a fourth quarter comeback that wasn't meant to be.
How do I say this?
Say any way you like.
There are shot makers, and then there's guys that aren't shot makers. And at the end, there was shot makers beating the guys that didn't shoot. This was right after Austin's 3 to tie the game. They came back. Jamal hit the 3 with Torian Prince going over the screen. And then all the floodgates opened at that point. But the core issue of this team is something we've discussed ad nauseum, which is they're ridiculously flawed fundamentally, and they don't really have the talent to combat a Jamal Murray or even a Michael Porter Jr. when you need to keep them at bay. AD played Jokic as good as you could have played him. And it's just there's too many pluses on Denver's side versus our negatives. They have the better coach. They have the better system. They play more discipline. They play with more control. LeBron, I think I've counted maybe 5 of these bonehead turnovers right after a rebound. I don't know what it is about that particular play, but it's just not a fundamentally focused team. They tried hard tonight. They really tried. They really were trying to make it work. But trying is not enough, folks. You have to be able to mentally handle these moments. And the Lakers just don't have it. They just don't have it. And this is at home. They don't use the crowd to their advantage in any way. There's no energy in this team except when it starts to get towards the end of the game, and then they all of a sudden start playing well. This game was lost 2 quarters before Jamal and yeah, Jamal Murray and Porter hitting those shots. You can't play with this team in the second quarter. You have to create some distance. You have to play 48 minutes of basketball. This team is incapable of playing 48 minutes of sound fundamental basketball against a elite team. It's just not in the cards. They don't have enough talent and they don't have enough knowledge from the leadership standpoint to guide them. I want to say some good things about Jackson Hayes. I thought he actually kept this team in it with his hustle there toward the end. This might have happened before then. It really would have happened before it happened if it wasn't for him. Torian Prince didn't have a bad game. AD obviously had a phenomenal game. LeBron did not have a good game for LeBron standards. And that's just what it is at the end. It's never everyone on a string, just handling business, handling their own all at once. So that's all I got out of this here tonight. I thought they were going to lose in the third quarter. They didn't look like they were going to go anywhere. Down 8, down 10, whatever it was, and then they start showing some life in the fourth quarter. But in the end, shot makers win the game, and Denver had them, and the Lakers didn't towards the end.
Absolutely. And real quick, if I could just jump in here and talk about a comment that we're getting here in the chat. Believe, I don't want to mispronounce your name, so I'm sorry if I butcher it, brother. But it's Cha Papa. I don't really know.
Yeah,
Cha Papa. Yeah, there you go. No, so he said you're telling me that if AD and LeBron play better, we can't win this game. Of course, brother. You could apply that rule to about any basketball game that's ever been played. Of course, if one team stars are going to play better than the other team stars, yeah, you're going to have a better chance to win this game. But my point that I was originally getting at was that this game was so gut-wrenching because, again, Jokic, the man who has a great assist-to-turnover ratio, the man who does not make many mistakes, had 6 turnovers tonight, and Anthony Davis played him just about as great as you can play him, and we still took the loss. Because the thing is with the Denver Nuggets, if you could take not just with the Denver Nuggets, with any team in the NBA, with just basketball, period, you could take the best player out of their element. If you could have them play even slightly worse, even just have them slightly be double thinking twice of what they're going to do, because they know that they got another big man in there that they can't just go bully. Because go back and watch the tape. Anytime it was not Anthony Davis on Jokic, you saw what he was. And this is just with the rest of the league. Go watch the Denver Nuggets. What they do, as soon as it's not somebody that is smaller than Jokic is going to bully. But he simply couldn't do that with Anthony Davis tonight. And my point was that it's such a gut-wrenching loss because it's like, man, we executed the game plan, which is to take their best possible player as much out of the game as you can, and still took the loss. So that was my point, my brother.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers unfortunately lose 114-106 to Denver. They're now 27-26, still 9th place in the Western Conference. Little Chris says Ham should have kept Mays in instead of Reeves. It's sad, though, when Max Christie gets hurt and we're all expecting, hey, you've got a first-round draft pick that's sitting on the bench. Maybe give him a shot. That's how little confidence this team has in Jalen Hood-Schifino. We're now more than 50 games into the season, and yet JHS gets no burn. That's how much confidence that we're actually able to go ahead and, you know what, we'll take the guy, Skylar Mays, the 4-year journeyman instead of over JHS. What does that say to you, Joe, in regards to what the team thinks about JHS?
JHS is not going to benefit in any way this year. That's what we know this year at this point. Whether he becomes relevant later is irrelevant. There's the Lakers. Look, I want to say this because it's important. It's very important. The Lakers showed a lot of heart today, and they have been. They've been trying. They have been trying, but it's just they're not good enough. And That's just what it is, folks. They're just not good enough. If they make a shot, they allow something on defense to mask that good play or that good shot. And then once a team, and this is something none of you can argue against, the second a team gets into some kind of momentum, 8 to 10 points, boom, gone. 10-0 run in a minute and 4 seconds. I want you guys to focus on that. If you don't believe me and you DVR'd the game, go back. In a minute and 4 seconds, or 3 or 4, however you want to look at the time, just a little bit above 1, the Denver Nuggets went on a 10-0 run. This is not just tonight. This is an ongoing issue with the Lakers. They allow these kind of runs regularly. They don't know how to stop a team. They don't know how to go under a screen, over a screen, when they're supposed to. They don't know when to sag off, when they're not to sag off. They just don't know. They're not either good enough, or they're not being coached enough, or they're not fundamentally sound enough. It's what it is. The result tonight. So if you had a microcosm of a game, if this game was the microcosm of what the Lakers team is, they have talent. They do have talent. Austin Reeves is a good player. Taurean Prince has his moments. Rui had a bad game. Usually he doesn't play this bad, but he's a decent player. You have AD who's playing well. He's got LeBron. You got a decent roster with a couple great players. The problem is they don't work well together. They don't. They just do not work well together. And it is something that we've tried to harp on as much as we can. And it's got to sink into some of you. You can't logically look at someone at this point and say this team is good when they're one game above 500 this late in the season. I'm sorry, especially with LeBron and AD. You have LeBron and AD and you're only one game over 500. That means your team is not good. It's average. It might be even worse because of the fact that you do have great players on your team. Tonight was just kind of probably how it should have gone if you're Denver. I remember these games. You know how I remember these games, guys? I remember these games because we were on the opposite of this a lot in my Laker viewing time. The Lakers would bad pity pat, then all of a sudden, all right, guys, time to win. Boom. They finished again. I used to see I saw that for 20 years, minus a few years. That's what championship teams do, and that's what the Denver Nuggets are. And today there was a lot of emotion today. This is the most busy day I've been in. This is the most busy day I can remember in terms of our show and our shows and just overall activities going on. You had Kobe's statue situation. You had the trade deadline. You had the NFL awards show, which was a complete monstrosity, by the way. I'll talk about that tonight on our nightcap. We had the Denver game. It was a lot of stuff going on today. So there's a lot of up and down emotions going up and down. And I say up and down, I was more upset on our shows than I was when I got off the shows. When I got off our shows, I was the happiest guy on the planet. I was having margaritas and burritos and hanging out with friends. And then I got to come over here and watch some dickweed like Myles Garrett win Defensive Player of the Year when he only had one sack the last 6 games of the season. And then, of course, watching the Lakers get beat at the end there against Denver. And also remembering the fact that Kobe's not here. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, before then, silence. Yeah. It's been a pretty just bipolar day, if you will.
Real quick, Chopper Papo, bro.
You guys have been going back and forth with each other,
brother. I'm a Lakers fan. Okay, I have one goal in mind, and that is to raise number 18, not to be incrementally better, not to just be the 5th seed. I'm trying to raise number 18. If you genuinely believe that we have enough to raise number 18, I would suggest you go back and watch every single game of this season, because we don't, brother. We do not have enough to compete and be a contender. That's what I'm looking towards. I'm not talking about being mediocre, I'm not talking about being a little bit better than 500. Dog, we have been struggling to get past 500. We have a song on here that we do, 500 my old friend. I came to talk to you again. Like, what are you talking about, brother? We don't have enough to be a championship contender. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to get at. And regardless of what you saw tonight, I'm talking about the span of a season, not talking about just tonight, brother.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro and John Costa. Joe Soro, Simblades with a Y.com, and he hosts Lakers Nightcap coming up for you at 11 p.m. tonight, where he will be talking about the NFL awards, also going into the Super Bowl, and of course, also as well, everything going on with the NBA and Kobe today as well. So go ahead and check that out at 11 p.m. It is the Lakers, unfortunately, losing 114 to 106. Joe, it just seems like the Lakers get off to such bad starts. You're always coming back. You're always trying to climb that mountain. And for a team like the Lakers that just doesn't play good enough on either end of the ball to justify keep having to come back, they always have to play from behind. It just doesn't work out for a team that's just not good enough on both ends of the ball, as we saw tonight, especially against a team like the Denver Nuggets. Go ahead, Joe. I got you. You got to unmute.
Sorry. They've been playing like this all year, so this shouldn't be a surprise anymore. They don't play 48 minutes of basketball. It's very, very rare that they do. They just don't have enough. LeBron, we had talked about I have talked about the veteran player who's going towards the end of his career. The mental part is actually where it gets bad, and a lot of folks forget that. Yes, physical does play a part, but it's the mental part at some point that will finally kind of succumb to the either you can't deal with the pain anymore, you don't want to deal with the long flights, you don't want to deal with the pressure. I saw it with T-Mac. I saw it with Allen Iverson. A lot of it also comes down to the fact that those guys lost a lot of their athleticism and they didn't have the work ethic to extend that play. LeBron looks mentally exhausted. He looks mentally exhausted. And I'm sure there's a physical part there too, but mentally is probably a little bit there too. And if this organization is smart, whatever that means for this organization, they go into this coming year understanding that they're on borrowed time with LeBron James. The season's going to end, unfortunately, in a bad way for the Lakers. They're either going to not make the playoffs. I think they'll make the play-in, but will they make the playoffs? I don't consider the play-in the playoffs anyways. That's debatable. But even let's say they do make the playoffs, will they last after the first round? Probably not. Probably not. Let's say they get lucky. Second round? I don't think so. Not after the second round. So now you got to sit down and you got to go, okay, what is our next steps? Now, I heard some bad things today about how, well, we're going to have 3 first-round draft picks. Okay. What is that going to do for you? What are you going to use those for? Who are you going to get this summer that we know about that would make a difference? The answer is no one. The answer is no one. And I'll explain that during the end of the season. However, the Lakers need to make a commitment at some point here this summer. And I would highly advise them to tell LeBron, we've committed to you for 1 more year should you take that contract, which he will. LeBron is not taking away $51 million. I don't care what anyone says. And if he does do it, there's some kind of something attached to it somewhere where he can make that money back, which I don't know what it is. You know, sometimes these things surprise you. But I don't see him turning down that money. Then you go into next year with him playing his last year as a Laker. And then you deal what you got with that. Try to go for one more run if you can. But as soon as next year ends, I'm talking 2025, this team needs to start focusing on Anthony Davis and what they're going to do for the future.
Chopper.
But that needs to stop. That needs to start now. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you are good. My fault about that, Joe. Chopper, brother. We all trying to tell you right here in the chat. Gary trying to tell you. Scarlet Blue trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, brother. We don't got enough from the other guys. Okay, on a night like this, when D'Angelo Russell is out, who he's been stepping up big as of late for us. He's been a big time other for us as of late. He's been that third other scorer for us. Christian Wood is getting more minutes. He got 19 minutes. You know how many points he scored tonight, brother? 3. You want to look at Rui. Rui got 37 minutes tonight. And the crazy thing is I'm happy Rui got big time minutes because the thing is that Rui, my biggest thing is that he was getting played by Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham will play him a little bit, pull him out, play him a little bit, pull him out. Tonight, he did get those extended minutes. You know how many points he had tonight? 2. Went 0-2 from the 3-point line and went 1 of 5 from the field. Didn't get to the free throw line one time. Didn't even really contribute in other facets. He only had 4 rebounds. Jackson Hayes had 5 offensive rebounds by himself. So this is what I'm trying to get at, brother. Like we don't have enough. Maybe your heart as a Lakers fan is still stuck on last year, but I'm just trying to tell you, brother. I've been watching this season. I have not missed a single Lakers game for the past actually couple of years. And right now,
let me just say, John, when you were 27 and 26, does Chapapa he is focused, laser focused. You got to give him a lot of props, a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. I love it. As a Lakers
fan, common sense tells you at 27 and 26, the role players are not enough. You can fight all you want, but the record speaks for itself. Ultimately,
exactly, Gerald. I'm just trying to be real with my brother because I just feel like we should, I love this platform. It's like a community. It's like a big family community. And I just think that as family, like we should educate each other. And I just think that
we all have our own opinions.
Yeah.
And we have to respect those opinions on this show. And John, you're not going to change his mind. We call it like we see it. It is there, 27, 26. If he feels otherwise, as many of our fans do, they do. But LeBron, he didn't give you what he needed to give you tonight. 9 of 20, not good shooting at all. He hurt you down the stretch with that 3. Did not play good defense. Again, coming off a 2 days rest is kind of disappointing that you get this kind of LeBron performance. Had we gotten a decent LeBron performance, Joe, we could have gotten this game.
Not only that, but how about just 10 more points from Rui?
Yeah,
that was a 38 minutes, 2 points. That was a nut punch, and to be honest with you, that hurt because if he had just played just a halfway decent game, this game probably would have been ours. I'm seeing a lot of emotion here from new faces. New faces. I want to bring something to your all attention. Sometimes we repeat ourselves here because the community is growing, and we want to make sure that everyone knows where we're coming from. Folks, for those of you who are trying to be optimistic and positive, our assessment isn't based off of just tonight's game. This is a habit. The Lakers have played like this all year. And what I mean by that is they're not a disciplined team. They're not fundamentally sound. They make terrible decisions, not in the fourth quarter at the end of games, but throughout the game. These all catch up to you. The points in the second quarter, the mistakes in the second quarter mean something late in the fourth. When you have a team like Denver, especially when you've had some form of containment with Jokic, he still had a good game, but he was contained to a degree. You have to take advantage of that, and you didn't. You don't. This team needed a 10, 12-point lead going into the fourth quarter to combat whatever Denver was going to do. You guys remember that run the Knicks made in the third quarter? Or it might have been Boston too. I mean, they all make their runs, but I remember distinctively that they made a run in the third quarter, and all of a sudden they're only down 4. Well, folks, that's why it's important to have those leads so that run is neutralized. Now imagine this. Imagine if Jamal Murray and Porter go 10-0 in a minute, and you had a 13-point lead, it's a little bit easier to, yeah, they're coming back. Yeah, they're making a run at the worst time. Yeah, why are they choking? Blah, blah, blah. But they're still up at that point if you have a decent lead. You're at home. You were playing well enough to get a large lead, but you were making mistakes, little mistakes, too many little mistakes. You didn't take advantage of Jamal Murray being out. Didn't take full advantage of when Jokic was out. You were decent. You were playing even. This is not a team to play even with. You needed to create some distance. This is a habit. This is who the Lakers are. They do not take advantage of this game in and game out.
I mean, we were asking for months, Joe, about Rui Hachimura needs more time. Rui Hachimura needs more time. Rui Hachimura needs more time. He got 38 minutes tonight, a golden opportunity with just the weight off his back from not being on the trade block anymore, and didn't get it done.
Folks,
2 points, minus 12.
Folks, Rui Hachimura, just like most fan bases who cheer for their players, overrate their own players. Rui is a decent player. He's not going to make a big difference, though. He's not going to be that guy that you saw in the playoffs. Every now and then you'll get that Bruce Brown run or the Rui run. Now, what do those two have in common? What did Rui and Bruce Brown have in common in last year's playoff run? I'll tell you the answer in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Contract year. Contract year. Contract year. Contract year. It is a thing. Never trust a player who was not viable until his contract year. Those are actually the worst ones to depend on. Now, in the NBA, signing someone to a contract that's probably above what they should get, that's a different story because that's leverage that you have to create. That's what the NBA did with the CBA is you got to pay these guys a certain percentage versus what the owners are making. So part of that salary accumulation is to allow you to use that asset in trades or whatever. And at the same time, the players get paid that particular percentage that the CBA had agreed upon. So you got all this stuff going on. It's all this thinking. Teams can't think about just focusing on basketball anymore. They got to think about leverage. They got to think about how could we get improvement on our team if we need to do a trade? How can we get assets? Things like that, which is fine. It's always been like that. It's just never been this complicated. You sign Rui, excuse me. You sign Rui because he might play the way he played at the end, but you really sign him in case you need him in a trade. You did that with D'Angelo Russell as well. Austin Reeves, maybe you kind of said, look, we're getting him at a bargain because apparently people were overvaluing. Again, we were overvaluing him. Oh, if he gets $25 million from the Spurs, you better match it. No, you don't match $25 million for Austin Reeves. I'm sorry, folks. You let that guy go. It's just we've got too much emotion in this. There's too much feeling to it. There's loyalty to it, which I can understand. You want to support your players that on your favorite team, but this team is just not good enough, folks. And there's a major deficiency in that head coaching area. It's a black hole. It really is. It's a black hole. And we cannot expect to fill that black hole when the guy who's supposed to fill it isn't capable of filling it. When in instances like this, he just can't. He can't seem to direct or maestro his players. Torian, don't go under the screen. You don't hear him say that. Austin, stop sagging off Michael Porter Jr., who's been slamming you at the three for the last 3 possessions. A player in a game, especially in the NBA, he's got a lot to worry about. You're talking about the greatest athletes on the planet. There's a lot of things going on in that person's mind at that moment. That's when you need a coach to either teach you how to focus in those moments or guide you while the game is going on in some way. Just depends on how your coaching style is. If you look at Tom Thibodeau, he's more vocal. He's more out there. Okay. Phil Jackson used to sit most of the time because he had already prepared everybody. And the second you screwed up, your ass was out of there. There isn't a cohesiveness on this team from coach to player. And then on top of that, the players are not as talented as Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I'm sorry, folks. Aaron Gordon's a freak. Yeah, he's not the greatest basketball player, but he's a freak. Guy can jump out of a building. Michael Porter is a 8-foot freaking deer. Jamal Murray is a freaking basketball savant. Jokic is going to be the 3-time MVP this year. There's a lot of talent here. You can't match it with the talent that Lakers have unless AD and LeBron are playing that kind of ball and everyone else is kind of at least doing their thing, but they're not capable of doing their thing. They're not getting coached right, and they're not talented enough to cover those deficiencies.
On the
I
bright
want
side,
to go ahead, John. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, on the bright side, and maybe this, I don't know if you were gonna transition or not, Gerald, but on the bright side, like at least we didn't do any moves at the trade deadline.
What I wanted to ask you about before we go into what's going on with the Kobe statue, as far as your thoughts on that, but wanted to ask your thoughts. No activity at the trade deadline, and the word from Rob Pelinka after the Kobe statue unveiling, his quote was, "You can't buy a house that's not for sale." Loading up, he says, for the off season, which is something we had anticipated. We talked about it. And it's so funny because I listened to the Locked On Lakers here earlier today just to see what some of the other shows are saying. And it's funny because in a matter of 20 minutes of their show, they said, and they picked bullet points from everything Joe, Stone, Z, and myself said all morning long, and in the past month, 2 months, 3 months, in regards to this team. So I want to hear your thoughts, though. Again, you're going to see all these podcasts and all these Lakers podcasts now saying, you know what, it's okay that the Lakers didn't make any moves, but whatever. Need I digress? We knew it all the time. Whatever. Your thoughts, though, on Rob Pelinka's comments in regards to the inactivity at the NBA trade deadline.
We knew it all the time. Maybe Lakers fast break got to get a job, Lakers front office, because we knew it all the time. Gerald, you said it. And
Joe and I would be fired like the next day because we would tell Jeannie off. We'd tell her to sell the team.
But you know, you're on mute, Gerald.
Gerald wouldn't. Gerald is more adaptable.
I would say it in a more politically correct fashion. Joe would say it in more of an unpolitically correct fashion.
Gerald is adaptable. He'd be fine. I might be okay at the beginning, but eventually I'll break.
By lunchtime.
By lunchtime, yeah. I mean, yeah, if Joe can make it to lunchtime, that is a win for us.
You would be coming back from break. You say, bleep this. Sell the team, Jeannie. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the answer to everything. If you guys want me to keep it a 100 with you guys, that's the answer to everything. But we know that's not going to happen. So let's, I guess, move to the next realistic option here. And that was, to make a trade or not to make a trade. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think I said it the last 2 post-game shows. Unless we bring Luka, it doesn't matter. And again, this is coming from the mindset of I'm trying to raise number 18. I'm trying to win a championship. I'm not just trying to be the 4th seed. I'm not just trying to be, like the 4th seed and then get knocked out first round, second round. I'm trying to contend. And when I look around the league and I look at the contenders in the West, in the East, shoot, it hurts my heart to say this, but the Clippers, the Nuggets, let's jump to the East. We got the Bucks. I know Dame's been kind of struggling, but we know what they're going to do. 76ers, they just added an amazing piece with Buddy Hield with the trade deadline. That was huge. They're just going to get better. The Knicks, wow, they've been on a tear. And when I'm talking about when I say contending, because I think people need to take into account that when we say contending, or at least when I say contending, I'm not saying like, oh, this is just as best as we can make the roster. Like, no, contending is this is best we can make as we can make the roster, and how does it stack up against the competition? And we don't stack up against the competition. And even if we were to bring DeJounte Murray, who again I think was a great fit, Malcolm Brogdon, Dorian Finney-Smith, all these guys who fit the mold and fit the role of what we need exactly. At the end of the day, guys, Darvin Warm Hands Ham is still there. And as long as he's there, we will not utilize the players in the right way. And
let's just say this. Chapapa, if a guy shoots 6 of 16, he wasn't enough tonight. It's simple arithmetic right there for you.
I like that.
Somebody shoots 6 of 16 like Austin Reeves tonight. It's just not enough. If you lose, that's one of the places you have to look. It's just that simple. If your actual perception of basketball is correct, you would have to look at that and say that's what needs to be fixed. That LeBron, just a lot of other issues tonight. Christian Wood, 19 minutes, 3 points. Rui, 38 minutes, 2 points. Yeah, just you have to point these things out. But go ahead, finish up, my friend.
Yeah, this I'll finish up with. Then Joe, I want you to take it off. But here's what I'm at with it. I'm glad we at least didn't make a trade, because like I said, if we make the trade, Gerald, you brought up the great point of if we make that trade, we don't get that like extra money that you were talking about. And
they didn't make a move anyway, so they're still slightly over the cap. So they didn't even do that right. So they didn't even trade. Like, they still have time, I believe, to go ahead and waive somebody, maybe to go ahead and get under the tax. But yeah, they haven't done anything. So they're still in the repeater tax by the smallest of margins. So they didn't even do that right, John.
Yeah. So couldn't even get that right. But at the end of the day, at least we didn't move all these pieces for nothing. That's my biggest thing. I was, as soon as, because I'm in the West Coast, so as soon as 12 p.m. hit, I was like, yes, we still got this team intact. Maybe we can do something.
Well, when you make these moves, you want the team to do substantially better than they're doing now in the case of a 500 team like the Lakers are, or thereabouts. So you want them to make the moves to put them in a much better position, if that's the case. If you make the trades that you want to make, then that's what you ultimately want. And if the Lakers, if they saw that DeJounte Murray you have to give up way too much for a guy that's only going to get you so far, then maybe it was a wiser move to not spend those assets right now. Joe, I bring it back to you, my friend. Again, this comes off of our entire coverage of the NBA trade deadline. And when you see what went on, or lack thereof, by Rob Pelinka, in certain cases, you could understand why, Joe, because probably the asking price for a lot of these individuals they were going for were just too outrageous, or just something the Lakers couldn't afford. But building along the fringes, we saw the Phoenixes, the New Yorks, the other teams that were out there built along the fringes today based off their second round draft picks that were flying all over the place. The Lakers had second round draft picks they could utilize and chose not to do that too. That's what I found most disappointing. If they're going to stay above the repeater tax, you might as well try to at least build along the fringes to get better role players than what you have now.
I don't think it would have made a difference, honestly. The team might have had a few things they could throw out there, but not enough to be significant. There's just not enough talent. There was not enough talent in any way for anybody this season. Whether it was Siakam going to Indiana, do you think Indiana's a title contender now with Siakam?
No, they got better though.
Does Buddy Hield should Embiid come back? Is Buddy Hield going to make that much of a difference in Philly? No. You needed somebody like Alex Caruso, not Buddy Hield. The NBA right now is going to have to look at Denver. I just can't pick the Celtics at this point. They just seem like they keep They just keep doing the things that they've been doing the last 5 years and not making it work. Denver is the team to beat at this point. That looks like their sophomore jinx might not be a problem. Most of the time it is. Very few teams that repeat, but Denver looks like they have a shot at going back to back. And if they make it to the finals, I don't care who's over there from the East, they're going to get smoked. Oklahoma City, I thought, probably had the worst. They made the worst decision here this trade deadline. They should have used some of their assets to get a player and see if they could go all the way. Because you don't know if this opening might be the only time you can do this. They're thinking, oh, well, Chet Holmgren will have another year next year and another year next year, and things will, they'll start to be a competitive team then. That's a terrible way to look at this. You got to take advantage of it now. The Clippers, in a lot of ways, are kind of like the Celtics of the West. Yeah, they're the first seed now, but will Harden go soft where it matters? Because every time he's been there, that's what's happened. Everything we analyze here is based off what we've seen, not because we want it to happen. And then if it involves the Lakers in terms of picking who's what, yeah, there's some bias. I picked the Lakers to beat Denver last year because I wasn't expecting the Lakers to make it to the Western Conference Finals to play Denver. However, I picked Miami and Denver in the summer that they would be the finals opponents. I just picked Miami to win it all instead of Denver. So what happened today? Nothing happened today. This is the worst trade deadline that I can remember. The worst one. There was nothing of any substance in this one. The Knicks, I'd say, had the best day for the simple fact that they were able to make transactions without using any of their first-round picks. That was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree.
That was damn good. Because now, if they want to go get somebody at the end of the year, now they really have some ammo. And New York is desperate to be a contender. So watch out for the New York Knicks in the offseason.
They could actually end up being second. If Cleveland falters even just a little bit, or Milwaukee just doesn't get its act together, they could end up being second.
They
in the
need
Western,
one more
in the
guy.
Eastern Conference.
They need one more guy. Just
OG's out for 3 weeks at least.
Of course.
So
that's what happens with OG, right?
Yep.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
yes.
No, quick question for especially you guys, because again, we have said this. I mean, you can look at my face. You can see I'm young, 24 years old. Okay. I was listening to, I forgot who it was, but it was some podcast talking about the Knicks now. And he was reminiscing on how this Knicks team kind of reminds him of the Pistons when they had like Chauncey and they had all these really good players, but they never had one true superstar. Because, Joe, when you say that the Knicks still need that one more guy, at times I do agree with it, but I feel like if you look up and down the roster, yes, we know what just happened to OG, but if you look up and down the roster, like they might be one of the deepest teams in the league. Do you guys like see any like resemblance of those Detroit Pistons teams when they were just insanely deep with Chauncey running? Like they didn't have no one true star. Chauncey was the head of the team, but they were really deep. Do you guys see any resemblance with that?
Go ahead, Joe.
No.
Okay.
I do not.
I still like what Oklahoma City did. I mean, Hayward isn't going to be a big deal for them, but he is $31.5 million expiring on his contract. So they will build even deeper in the summer.
The landscape is changing so much right now. I can't really get a gauge on where this thing's going to be here in the next few years, except it is showing that there's this focus on trying to not have players move teams for some weird reason is Adam Silver's destiny. I don't know why, because movement is what's created the NBA since LeBron did the decision. See, people don't like change, and they don't like it when it's drastic change. And LeBron did something that superstars didn't do when he did it, really. Somebody that's in his prime all of a sudden just leaves like the way he left to go join other stars the way he did. They made it into a wrestling. They basically, it was like the NWO back in the Attitude Era. Here's Hulk Hogan. LeBron was Hulk Hogan. Bosh and Dwayne Wade were Hall and Nash. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain at another time. But it was this shock that this guy did what he did so much that all the people in which it didn't affect anyone other than Cleveland. Cleveland, yes, Cleveland. You're a Cleveland fan, you have every right to hate LeBron and feel betrayed, yes. But what cracked me up is people who had no affiliation with Cleveland Cavalier fandom being all upset. Like, what are you upset about? The NBA is gonna, like, this helped the NBA. You got this crew of people that now you're gonna want to cheer against or whatever. They made the finals 4 years in a row. They had some epic games, and LeBron continued it. Then he set the story up to go back to Cleveland, and he did. That story was crazy. And then he goes to LA. The king goes to the purple and gold. How fitting, right? The greatest franchise in NBA history wins a championship with that team. But right now, weirdly enough, Adam Silver's trying to get rid of that. Oh, I want it to be more like how Jordan and Bird and Magic and Kobe stayed with their teams and Tim Duncan. That was important at that time, folks. This is a new era. And for the NBA, that movement had some of the highest ratings. Those matchups with Curry and LeBron, those were high ratings at that time. When everyone would say, I don't like LeBron, I'm not going to watch the NBA because it's this, because it's that. No, you're watching. They're not watching now. They're not watching now because you have somewhat ruined the game by not taking advantage of the two areas that you were dominating in, which was free agency and the trade deadline. And then now you're killing movement. You're killing the movement in the NBA. Look what happened today. Who moved? Pascal Siakam does not move the needle, folks. Some people can't even say that guy's name. I'm sorry. It's not a big trade to me. It's not. Who else? Who else was traded? That was a big name earlier in the year.
OG is the other big trade.
Who the hell is OG? That's what the general audience is going to say.
Well, he was
OJ.
Initially, when he came in there, he did give the New York Knicks a boost, and that's when they went on a really good win.
And the NBA right now, LeBron and Curry are still name brands. Who is going to carry the NBA?
Next, like a prediction? Is that what you're asking?
Who?
Luka?
Who is going to be the next star? Is it Jokic? Jokic.
Luka.
I don't think anybody would like to look at Jokic as a star, even though he is. Embiid, is he a star? Is he transcending? No.
What?
Is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander going to be the kind of guy that's transcending? No.
I'm going with Luka.
Mamba, maybe Victor, but
maybe.
Do Americans like French guys? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Ant. Somebody threw a good one. Ant and Luka.
Anthony Edwards. Does he have that general audience grab? No.
He got that.
Not in Minnesota. Personality, no. John Morant, no.
Somebody said I like French fries.
AD, even AD doesn't have that, guys, and he doesn't want it. So the NBA is starting to get very, very boring when it should have been exciting. So we are where we are, man. It is what it is. We're never going to see anything close, even if you're trying to mimic it. You're not allowed to play defense like Detroit did there, Johnny. I'm sorry. I can't compare anybody to that team because the Lakers lost to two teams in the finals that had arguably the greatest defensive rating in the history of the NBA. not arguably, the greatest defensive ratings. They were a juggernaut. It took that to defeat Kobe Bryant.
Embiid or Giannis, Sam is asking.
Both got it.
Embiid gets hurt too much.
True. But I don't know. I don't know, Joe. I'm not gonna lie. I really
Giannis
think
was
Ant and
close
Luka
after
got
that finals.
You can't look at it from your perspective, John. You got to look at it from the noise around you. Who knows who Giannis is?
And I'm not even. I'm saying Luka and Ant, like they got the potential to take it there.
Luka could, but he has to win. He can't be playing things. Luka his game is phenomenal. It's the closest thing to LeBron with a jump shot you can see.
Yes.
But which is, by the way, it's scary, right? But then it's LeBron. It's the perimeter LeBron. And what I mean by that is LeBron had athleticism that Luka will never have ever in his life. Even if he took all the steroids in the world, he's never going to have that athleticism. LeBron is a freak athlete. So switch the freakish athlete with the shot, and then they're the same everywhere else. Distribution, rebounding, leading a team, right? Luka could be that guy, but he doesn't have that. You look at guys like Kobe and Shaq, they embraced LeBron, Curry. They embraced that title of face of the NBA. I don't know who does. I don't know who wants that right now. That's the question.
I hear. I mean, I grew up watching Kobe, so I can understand what you're saying. But
so, how did you feel tonight, though, when you saw the first of 3 statues being unveiled tonight?
Something that should have been done a long time ago. I'm happy it happened on this day. 2/8/24 day for Kobe. I mean, honestly, Kobe Bryant is the reason why I even got into like watching basketball. So to me, it just felt like something that was much deserved and a bit emotional. I ain't gonna lie, but that's just where we are now.
The Kobe thing is uncomfortable at this point. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. It was uncomfortable, and you could see it in a lot of faces.
Yeah.
In that ceremony, it was Jeannie was uncomfortable. Vanessa was uncomfortable. Sasha was crying. Lamar looked like he was depressed. LeBron's face is how I felt physically. When you look
Rob and Magic were uncomfortable just standing there.
This was a terrible night if you really want to get down to it. It was a terrible day because he should have been there. And it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided, and all these things go in your mind. Sasha crying was the one that kind of broke me. That one broke me a little bit. I'll be honest. I saw Sasha's face, and I was like, Lamar kind of had it there, and they were holding it together. And then Pau was holding it together. You could see Pau. The thing with Pau is I was at his ceremony at Staples, the Crypt, and he could barely talk. He was trying his best. And today sucked. Today sucked. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'll be honest. It sucked. And it's gonna always suck. Magic was diagnosed with HIV in 1991, November 7, 1991. I cried like a baby. I was 13 years old. We all thought he was going to be gone soon. He lived. I ended up meeting him, shook his hand. He was great. But this tear for Kobe Bryant was different because he is gone. And it was like this. And the fact that children died and mothers and fathers died, you start identifying with all this stuff. And again, children and dads and moms are dying all the time, cancers and wars and all this. But we're not connected to those people typically. We're connected to Kobe. We're connected to Vanessa and Sasha and Pau and Lamar and Magic. This is people that were on our TV or in and around the game when we went there. They felt like they were extended family. That's why it hurts so much. So for those of you who have said, why do you care? You didn't even know the guy. I did know the guy. I did know Kobe. not personally, but we did know him. It was he made an impact in our life. He entertained us, but he also did other things in and around the community, in and around family. I identified with how he was with his kids. I identified with it. He grew up in Europe. He grew up in an Italian environment. I grew up with that kind of same environment. So I identified with him. He's my age, almost to the day. So I'm here and I'm healthy and I'm enjoying my life. I'm here yapping on some podcast, being angry, even though deep down I'm a really happy guy. And I have great days almost every day. And maybe that's the balance. I have such a good life that I have to suffer here on the show after Laker games. But the beautiful
You must
thing
pay, Joe.
yeah, that's the balance. And that just like how the earth works in the solar system, the balance is something real, guys. You gotta this is what keeps me balanced, I guess. Except 2020. 2020 I was riding high pretty much all year. Granted, it was a COVID year, but the COVID year didn't actually affect me as much as it affected others because I didn't have to work under any rules. I owned my own gig, and people were in their houses and got tired of looking at their crappy yards. So I got more calls that year. And then, of course, the Lakers and the Dodgers won a championship, and the Steelers had started 11-0 until they butchered it at the end. But it's the sports thing is a lot like life in that there's tragic situations most of the time. You know, life has that. But then, man, those few things every time they show up that are good, like championships, that's what makes it worth it all the while.
And also to add to that Kobe stuff that you're talking about, Joe, for anyone that does like say like, oh, you didn't know him personally, like why does this make you so emotional? It's like also the whole like, and now people embrace it, but the whole like mom mentality, like that's really a way of life. Like whether you hoop or not, like you don't even got to really play basketball. Like you can take that mama mentality into anything. My big brother, he never played basketball. I've been playing basketball my whole life. So like the whole mom mentality thing like meant like a different thing to me, but to him it mattered because like my big brother, he's a mechanical engineer, and like he really had to go hard in school. So it was just like that, having that mom mentality and just applying it to school. So it honestly helped people get through life. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
And that's something that's great example, John. Guys, while I'd be fine. Okay, not me. But I'm talking about others. Okay, I'm talking about others who live to watch some of these athletes, actors, performers. It's not some of these actors and the performers. Yeah, you don't want to worship these guys. Don't ever worship that. I wouldn't recommend it. But guys like Kobe, guys like Christian Bale today in LA County shoveled 15 homes for siblings who were in foster care to stay together. So he physically, this man's from England, by the way, folks, for those of you who don't know who Christian Bale is, who's an American icon with Batman and all these things, right? He's in LA, all the way from England, where he's from, and trying to build homes for siblings in foster care not to be separated. Why is that important, besides to the obvious? Well, he's just some actor, right? But actors and athletes and prominent businessmen a lot of times are the ones that have the resources to do good things. So when they do good things, it's important to support them and admire them, because it does feel good. It's those 15 homes are going to house now siblings that don't have to be separated. That's a beautiful thing. You're never gonna beat that. You're never gonna beat it. Kobe was an idol, but the things he did for the people around him, the girls' basketball, his ex-teammates. You have any idea what he did for LO? For those of you who didn't know the story, I'm going to tell you about what he did for LO. LO was on a podcast and he said he owed X amount of money to gamblers. For those of you who don't know this, a lot of times these athletes are they have gambling's it's kind of like an unspoken thing in that world. A lot of them are like degenerate gamblers. LO got in deep with some bad people. And his last shot was to call Kobe. He calls Kobe. He goes, Kobe, this is the situation I'm in. And Kobe cussed him out bad. And then said, all right, I'll take care of this. You won't, and of course you have to pay it back. Now, when you say he's in it bad, folks, when you're a professional athlete and you have a gambling problem and you have a bookie that you're dealing with, this is why I don't like gambling. What do you think those guys are going to make you do if you can't pay? It's nice that LO did the smart move.
And he was there today, very emotional, as I saw on the feed.
Lamar he said he had a dream of Kobe. I know they're dreams and whatever, but he goes, Kobe comes into his dreams sometimes, and he had this one dream with Kobe, and then he goes, LO, the afterlife isn't what you think it is. That always gives me goosebumps when I hear that. I couldn't tell if it was depression or a good thing or a bad thing. I can't tell. It sounded not good. But yeah, my sadness with Kobe, besides the family thing, that's number one. The family thing. You look at her, you look at Vanessa, and you look at the girls, and they don't have their dad, they don't have their protector, right? That's how I think about it. I have girls too. I don't tragedy if I'm not there to protect them, and
it's tough.
We're not gonna know. The sadness in the end is also that we're not gonna know what he could have done. It was close. It was getting there. It's like you saw some things developing, and it's like, wow, what is it? We're never gonna see it ever again. And I had said this before. I was here when Michael Jackson passed away, Prince, Whitney Houston. I wasn't here for John Lennon. I wasn't here for the icons, right? The ones that die young become icons sometimes. Guys like James Dean, Marilyn Monroe. I don't know how that worked, but I don't remember the world stopping when someone died that was public like that. I felt like the world stopped. This was before COVID got crazy, guys. So you can't say it was COVID. COVID was like 6 weeks later, which in and itself was even more depressing at that time. I'm like, if this game was just 6 weeks later, he would have never been on that helicopter. Yeah, Scarlet and Blue. I didn't feel the same way for River Phoenix, and I don't think a lot of people did either, because that was self-inflicted. Unfortunately, it's probably why Michael Jackson, Prince, and Whitney Houston wasn't as big either. That's my assumption on that. Kobe was. There was. I can honestly say I think Kobe had more. He had more of a connection to the world than even those three in the end. In the way that I think we want that, because Michael Jackson had too much baggage when he died. There was too much stuff that was negative around them. Whitney Houston, same thing. Prince, not as much. I think he was fine. I don't think there was anything bad about what he was. He never did anything bad. But Kobe was. I just think Kobe was different. Kobe was just not. I don't know. I can't explain it. I felt like the world stopped.
Real quick. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead,
Joe.
Sorry, John. Go
No,
ahead. I've talked enough. Go ahead.
no. There's never enough of Joe. Keep
Oh,
going.
that's right. I'm sorry, John.
Go ahead.
Scarlet and Blue. Yes, Kurt Cobain. Thank you. I keep forgetting about Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain might have been the last one I remember people were depressed. Really bad. That was the last one in my era. So go ahead, John. Sorry.
I want to talk about a comment we got right here. Eduardo Gutierrez, he said, Kobe was loved like no other athlete, loved by y'all. Man, by Lakers fans, I'll go ahead and say yes, but I think we can all agree to this. If you've been watching basketball, especially if you've been watching the Lakers, like you knew that like Kobe was, people hated Kobe. People were hating on Kobe. Like now, after the whole situation, like at least that's the least you can do is, you know, try to right your wrongs. But I was a Kobe fan all throughout my life. I again was, like I said, Kobe's the reason I got into basketball. I saw how much people hated Kobe. I saw how much people just would talk about how he was like one of like top 3 in misses. He would talk about, you know, the all stuff with the case or whatnot, and stuff that's like
similar to what we talk about LeBron, or the people that don't care for LeBron talk about him today.
exactly right, exactly. But I would even I don't know. That's a whole nother debate. I would say that Kobe's might have been worse, but I don't know. The whole move that LeBron did, like that got a lot of people hating him. Like how Joe was mentioning earlier. Sometimes Cleveland fans had all the right in the world to hate him, but it's like you'll have a freaking dude that just lives in Alaska that just hates LeBron just to hate LeBron. So I don't know about that, but that's a whole nother discussion. But that's one thing I wanted to add is I'm happy that he gets his flowers now, but I'm saying this as a Kobe fan because I've been giving his flowers long before this situation happened. And I just want to say that most people out there, and I'm sure everybody in this chat, you know, has been showing love too, because we all part of Lakers Nation. And I grew up in the Bay Area. So I heard all the hate. Everybody that's loving now heard all the hate. So I don't know if I could say he was loved like all of the athletes. Intel Wild, I love that. Easy man. That
But
was a crazy
worldwide, though, John, worldwide, the Philippines, Australia, just Europe, so many other places, China did have a love for
That
Kobe
is true.
that was unwavering.
That is true.
But I want to ask you guys before we head on out, and I know, Joe, you got to set up for your show, Lakers Nightcap, which I will try to be on very quickly after we get off here. It'll be right here. So all your viewers out there, just to be able to switch over right here on the same channel, Lakers Nightcap with Joe Sorrell. Before we head on out, Darvin Ham, who's in the chat, and thank you for subscribing, Darvin, said that he gives the team an A+ for his competitiveness. And it's basically it's performance. Yes, his A+ for their competitiveness
Darvin,
and the way they played against Denver.
Darvin Ham, there's no such thing as an A with you involved. The highest you can go is maybe B-. But nice try. That's a good one. Stanley Johnson, we got to win tomorrow. And, oh, man, we have Darvin Ham and Stanley Johnson. This is just, hey, celebrities want to be with us, man. What can we say?
What can we say? We got Joe Ingles here past few days, too, as well. So we're truly blessed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do lose 114-106. They're still in 9th place, 27-26. So, John, tomorrow, it doesn't get a whole lot easier with a team that we're also looking up in the standings at against New Orleans. So your thoughts, my friend, on that before we head on out?
You know what? Let's not turn one loss into two. One of the things I always tell my my girlfriend is, if you take an L in life or if you take a loss, don't let it roll over and keep taking losses and losses and losses. Come on, man. Let's change the game plan, and we got to get a win. We got to get a win because we lost on Kobe's day with a Mamba jersey. No excuses. Like how Darren said, get a win.
I agree, my friend. I agree as well. But once again, I do want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their day all day long for being a part of what we're doing here at the Lakers Fast Break. From the morning when we're talking NBA trade deadline, throughout the Kobe, as far as the unveiling of his statue, and then, of course, everything all game long, pregame, during the game, post game, and now coming up here at Lakers Nightcap. A big shout out to you, John, Joe, obviously for him being here all day long. Want to also give a big shout out to Eli Ehesh. He did a great job. Please go get his book. The description is in the Kobe statue unveiling video right there for his book about the Mamba mentality. Please go ahead and pick it up if you can. He was terrific on the show earlier today. And we actually, the footage is still there. I haven't been banned by YouTube for it. So yeah, the footage of Kobe's unveiling is still there. So hopefully you get a chance to see that if you haven't caught it already. But also as well, Henry Hill, and of course, Stone Hansen. Big shout out to Stone Hansen for being not only in the morning, and I know he's living on the East Coast now for NBA trade deadline, but also as well for being a part of our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break live coverage as well. He did a sensational job answering all of Cool Bro's questions, even though he doesn't deal with pop culture. He just watches basketball. So it was great to see. But John, cannot thank you enough for your thoughts today on the game. Cannot thank you enough for your thoughts as well on the NBA trade deadline or lack thereof for the Lakers. And also as well, of course, the game itself and the Kobe statue unveiling. But when it comes right down to it, the Lakers still might be able to make one move, maybe, with a possible signing. Spencer Dinwiddie is a player that's out there that the Lakers are rumored to be very interested in. Your thoughts on him or another buyout player you'd like to see signed before we head on out?
I'd like that. I mean, if we can get him on the buyout market, a scorer, somebody who can take the pressure off LeBron having to play make. And
in theory, because there's a reason why he was bought out, because he's played pretty badly this year for Brooklyn.
Agreed. I think that, I mean, just a couple of years, and it's kind of similar to Christian Wood. Like literally just a couple of years ago, Spencer Dinwiddie and Christian Wood were on the Dallas Mavericks and were set to be like the guy, like next to Luka, like that second or third star. None of the two panned out, and now we got one on the Lakers. Maybe Spencer Dinwiddie will come. Yeah, in theory, he's a scorer. He can go get a bucket, and that's kind of what we need to take the pressure off LeBron. Relieve LeBron as a playmaker. Relieve LeBron as, I need to go score, I need to go play make. So I'll take him on the buyout market. We just need a score. Again, I'm not saying
he was talking to Mark Cuban tonight, so looks like it might be the ends there as far as that's concerned. I mean, he did play his best when he was a Dallas Maverick. So
yeah. Now SD is right. Why would Dinwiddie come to this delusional franchise? I agree.
Good point. Good point indeed. Killian Hayes, in some people's number one draft pick choice at that time, unfortunately he got drafted number 7 and now is currently out of the league because he got waived today. But we'll see. Danilo Gallinari. There's other players out there that have been waived, or Corey Joseph. But again, the buyout market seems to be the only place to go for the Lakers, who I still don't understand their player cap management. If they wanted to get fully under, so they avoid the repeater tax, why not just make that one small move to just get you under there so you can avoid it? So maybe they will still be able to. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to have to get a cap specialist in here one of these days to go ahead and just tell everybody what's up with the Lakers just to get everything cleared out. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, Joe Soro. We cannot thank you enough. Please join him here in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes on this very channel, he'll be on talking as only he can on Lakers Nightcap. But yeah, John, just great to have you here, my friend. I know you've taken time out of your day to be a part of what we do. You got to be here tomorrow night, my friend?
I will try to be here tomorrow night. Yes, I will. We got a big game against the Pelicans, so just got to get a win. Got to get a win.
But it looks like we're going to have 5 players out of lineup unless D'Lo magically gets that knee after the tune-up yesterday taken care of, because Max Christie did roll his ankle, and he wasn't playing great, but he was playing well enough. And it just shows you, again, I'll go back to one last thing, JHS.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's your
insane.
First round pick, 16th player drafted. And Maxwell Lewis, he even got off the bench. 0 minutes. But, and then you have Skylar Mays, a guy they got off the scrap heap, and he played in the crunch. And, of course, Jalen Hood-Schifino is, which tells you exactly all you need to know about the confidence this team has in JHS. That's truly disappointing. Sean, there might be a Joe rant, I think, on the NFL side, so you might be stay tuned for that. But yes, it is coming up here, Lakers nightcap. But yeah, JHS looks like a bust right now. I think at least at this point, you have to say that, John.
Honestly, I feel bad for him. It's funny because earlier in the season, remember when I was talking about confidence is such a big thing in basketball, and D'Angelo Russell wasn't even allowed to get his confidence, before he started playing well, because Darvin Ham kept just pulling him. He would get no confidence. I think JHS probably must be feeling like the least confident basketball player on earth right now. He's like, yo, you're putting Skylar Mays in before me? That's crazy. Just feel bad for him. Oh, wow, SD. That's kind of crazy. Gerald is on mute, but that is all good.
Yeah, because I just got Joe on the hotline, on the bat line here, telling me that I have to start the nightcap. So I'm going to be starting the nightcap, and I don't even have a drink right now, but he said he will be on. He's got a very important Sim Blades call he's got to attend to, so I will let him do that. But for you out there, will start the nightcap on time at 11 o'clock. But my friend John, I truly appreciate you being here. Darren, thank you so much for the super chat. Can we waive JHS a little bit too early, because he does have that guaranteed contract for what? Is it 3 or 4 years for JHS?
I believe it's 3 years.
Okay, that's maybe 3 years too many, but oh well, what are you going to do? Darvin says, don't worry, John. We're going to win tomorrow. So, yeah.
Hopefully.
We better, because the thing is, though, with the Lakers now at 27-26, they are one game in front of Utah and one game in front of the Golden State Warriors, who are surging. They've won 3 in a row. So if they put it together, at the back end, they could be someone of great concern for the Lakers to get in that spot. And don't forget the Houston Rockets as well. They're not fully out of it, even though they are 2.5 games behind the Lakers right now. So things right there as far as the standings. The Lakers need to get them back, right on the winning track. Darvin, please get this team back on the winning track. We'll see, but it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 114-106. Any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
No, man. I appreciate you guys.
Well, what's coming up on?
Oh, man. Okay,
we got to give you the opportunity for that cheap plug.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I got a lot coming up. I got 2 channels that if you guys want to check out. I got a NBA talk show, which is a drop 2 episodes per week, called Clutch Talk. That's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You guys go check that out. I'll actually be dropping a video this weekend talking all about the trade deadline. So if you guys want to, not just strictly Lakers content, I can talk about the entire league as a whole. And then I also have a strictly Lakers channel that's called Lakers Corner, where we get into only Lakers talk all things Lakers. But as always, appreciate you guys, man. Love the community we got going on over here, man. Huge.
I don't know, man. You were getting into it with Chapapa, and Chapapa, you know what? I appreciate you being here. You may not, we may go back and forth, but I agree. Let's not get too emotional. If certain people feel or think certain ways, everyone try to respect their opinion. You may disagree. Like, I know that, when he was comparing Austin to Kobe and things of that nature, but let's not, berate someone for that. Just, say, I disagree with you. I just disagree. He thinks that the role players did enough tonight. That's his opinion. You've got to respect that. In my opinion, it isn't right. And the numbers kind of back that up. LeBron didn't give it what you needed tonight. So Rodell, he does get part of the blame tonight. But, it's just so sad, though, John, before we head on out, to waste a game like this from AD. Absolutely dominant performance. Played Jokic well, like you said. Forced him into turnovers. Blocked shots in the interior. And it's just so sad we could not get the win tonight when he plays like that.
Yeah. So Z said it earlier. She said, I'm upset that AD's performance got overlooked tonight. And Z is dang right. Z's dang right.
Z is dang right indeed. Again, I was just so funny because again, I was in the shower listening to Locked On Lakers. They've got a little, they only put out these little sometimes 15, 20-minute podcasts because, they're just like have to throw out their obligatory. And just hearing that, I heard you, I heard Joe, I heard Z, I heard Stone, and I heard me as far as everything we've been saying for days and weeks upon end in that 20-minute synopsis. It was just weird. It was surreal listening to that. And I'm just going to myself, you know what? We call it like it is. We see it like it is. When we're really saying something that gets against the community, it's not because we want to, it's because that's what we see. We're hoping that we're wrong. We're hoping that the Lakers will prove us wrong. Darvin Ham in the chat. We're hoping Darvin proves us wrong, proves himself to be a great coach and wins 18 at the end of this season. That's what we're hoping for too. We're hoping that you guys can all laugh in our face if they win 18 in June. Look at that. I don't mind if they win 18 in June. How do I lose? How do I? Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, okay, yes, I'm right if they don't win, but if I'm wrong, they win 18. So I don't win. I don't lose in this scenario, my friend. I don't lose. So yes, that's what but we do appreciate you watching. We had over 100 viewers tonight. We had almost 200 on the Kobe statue, as far as that's concerned. And then also, of course, during the game, just truly cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day. I will be back in just a couple minutes. I'm going to go get me a drink for a nightcap. No, not alcoholic, because I can't do that. Don't do that anymore. But I will say I will get a drink, and you can have a nightcap with me and Joe Soro. We'll be talking a lot of great things on sports coming up here in just a sec. John, you stand for a nightcap, or you got to go do some clutch talk Lakers corner things?
I got to go do some Lakers corner things, and I got to go be a dad. My baby girl was telling me, like, Daddy, you're not going to sleep in bed with me tonight, so I got to go.
Priority. Good man indeed. Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Absolutely. A dad, she's a daddy's girl.
Yes.
And it's got to stay that way. So there you go. Truly appreciate you joining us here, John. Truly appreciate everyone out there taking the time out of their day. I'll be back in 2 minutes right here for a nightcap right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thanks, everyone, and be safe.